Good day, everyone. It's Meredith Leon McCormick for World Bride Magazine. I want to continue to thank you guys for all your support. We have been doing great. Thank you for all the questions and all the comments. And we continue to find the most amazing guests we can imagine in the fashion industry, in the bridal industry. Today's segment, but before I say that, I'm going to ask you to continue to follow us at World Bride Magazine on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So today's guest is one of the most celebrated professors in the fashion world. I'm not going to call her Miss. Professor Adrienne Jones. She is a celebrated professor that has founded this amazing black dress exhibition that we have celebrated, and I have the honor of having this conversation. Hello, Miss Adrienne.
Hello, Meredith. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. It's a privilege. You have contributed so much to the fashion world. You have celebrated designers of color and just global designers. But can you please explain to us the name of your company and why you felt it necessary to bring it to life?
Black Dress was actually started as an homage to my godmother, Clara Branch, who was a big force at Fashion Institute of Technology here in New York. And after the assassination of Martin Luther King, she started the Soul Club, uh, which gave tribute to Black designers. And then from there, she had the Soul Club Fashion Show, which was actually bigger than the school fashion show at the end of the year. She passed away a couple of years ago, and I was fortunate to find her um, catalogs that she kept of all these Black designers. And I thought I was well knowledged on Blacks in fashion, but looking through her books, I realized there were so many people that I didn't know. And I felt if I didn't know them, that there were so many other people out there who also were not aware of the depth and breadth of Blacks that are in fashion. So that inspired me to do Black Dress. And so in 2014, we launched the exhibit, uh, much more successful than I ever thought it would be. So not only did the Black fashion community come out and celebrate us, uh, any and everybody who had any interest in fashion came out to see the exhibit. So it was quite a success.
Oh, it was a major success. I think it took world news. You brought the attention of some of the designers that would have never gotten the recognition that they have deserved. And so it brings me up to speed with today's issues of the absence of Black designers, still a problem in today's fashion world. What do you think is really the problem? Why do they continually, those in power, say they didn't know, or, that kind of language?
See, I have to hold them to task for that because without people of color, specifically Black and brown people, the fashion industry would cease to exist. We've been behind closed doors for a very long time, holding up some of the major brands that exist today. So for them to say they didn't know, I just think they didn't want the competition because we have some very talented people out there doing amazing things and have been doing amazing things forever. Um, so the fact that they didn't know, they did not want to know. I think it's very simple. They did not want to know.
And that's the sad thing that we have to keep saying. Everybody wants us to, oh, we made a mistake, we're sorry, I apologize, we didn't notice, we didn't do this, how can we move forward? But my sentiments regarding that is you can't move forward until we address why did you forget us in the past? So for me, coming back to you and people like you was important just to even continue the conversation of the problems that the fashion industry has, even in bridal. We can't move forward without paying honor to those that came before us. And I feel, is that one of your inspiration as to why you became a professor at Pratt University to educate young people to put it back into books? Can you elaborate a
Uh,
little bit on that?
that's what it became. Um, it didn't start out that way. I can honestly say I never had any intention of teaching. Um, I love fashion. I love designing, but I was very disheartened by the industry and how they treated people who look like me. I specialize in skins, leather, fur, suede, and at one time I was doing these hand knitted suede and leather sweaters. And Bergdorf Goodman used to have one, I think it was 1 week out of the month where you make an appointment, new designers can make an appointment to come up, show what you were doing, and possibly, get your garment sold in Bergdorf Goodman. So that was a big thing. And I was friends with this older Jewish woman, and she would always say to me, I don't understand why, you're not selling to the big stores. And I said to her very, very easily, it has a lot to do with my color. And, the Jewish history is very similar to ours, despite how we deal with each other on a regular basis. We both come from almost the same terror. And so she decided she was going to go with me. And I said, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you act as if you're the representative for this brand? And so we went up there. We were very well received. They loved the sweaters. They were about to write up an order. And the woman we were speaking to said, oh, by the way, are you the designer? And she says, no. And before I could stop her, because the conversation had been going really well, before I could stop her, she, motioned towards me and she said, this is the designer. This is Adrienne. And I watched the woman's face change completely. I watched her attitude change. And I watched the order go absolutely nowhere.
I'm
So
like, I'm
she,
speechless because it's not shocking. I've heard it, I've
oh,
seen
not
it,
shocking.
I've I've been a part of it. I've been on the receiving end of it, and it's so sad. And you can't pinpoint it, and unless somebody was there with a camera, seeing and hearing what you just experienced, they literally would think you were lying.
Right. And that's what happened. That's what happened in this situation. I mean, my friend was so angry and so upset as we walked out of there. She was like, we should sue. And I was like, sue who for what? So, and that was not the first time. That had happened many, many times throughout the early part of my career. So when I was offered a position at Pratt, and actually one of my mentors, and just to say this, all non-black people are not evil. They're not bad. And one of my longtime mentors is white, and she was already teaching at Pratt. And the opening came up with me. But the interesting thing was, it was assumed that because she was white, I was white also.
Mm.
So I was actually given the job over the phone, and all I had to do was come in and sign the paperwork. So when I came to sign the paperwork, the head of the department at the time looked at me and she says, "Registration's not until next week." And I said, "Oh, I'm not a student. I'm here to fill out the paperwork. Hi, I'm Adrienne Jones." And you saw her face drop. And as a black woman, you've seen that look before when they've only spoken to you on the phone, and then they see you in person, and there's that look like, "Oh crap, she's black." And so what came out of her mouth instead was, oh, well, you sound different over the phone, which
And what is that?
I actually don't. Um, so that was how my career started at Pratt. It was one of those things I'll try anything one time. So I didn't know if it was something that I could do or that I would like. I'm really good at what I do. Wasn't sure I would know how to teach it. And so my first set of students, I said to them, listen, this is who I am. This is what I do. Tell me what you need from me in order for you to get the information. And that's how my career started, teaching.
So brilliant. So now speed it up to designers. You have the power of teaching the next generation actual diversity. Besides the basic skill of just being designers, now they are in the palm of your hands, that now you have the opportunity to mold them into breaking all these bonds of racism and everything else. How have the students themselves responded to you and what you're teaching?
Meredith, that's a very interesting question. I teach the physical part of design, the pattern making, the draping, the construction. And at Pratt, currently at Pratt, the majority of our students are Asian.
Mm,
And also, Pratt is up there with Parsons, so similar to an Ivy League art school, meaning that it's not cheap. So last last semester, the spring semester prior to COVID, out of almost 40 students, I only had two students of color,
wow.
and that's the norm. So I will get a lot of students because of their background have never seen a Black person in color.
Wow.
Um, so it's very different. If you have a lot of students from China, sometimes there's a language barrier.
Right.
Um, so for a lot of them, what they get to know about people of color is from me for the first time.
Wow.
And so I'm always interjecting um, information about designers. Like Black History Month, I make my
Right.
class celebrate Black History Month. Their assignment is to come in about one fact about African Americans that you did not know,
Right.
which is easy because they don't know any. Um, one year I challenged them even further to go out and research information on a current Black designer, um, which was very interesting because without knowing about Black dress, they went to the website and got the information.
Wow.
They
That's
were like,
amazing.
did you know that there was this website called Black Dress and it gives all this information? And I was like, really? Really? Now, how'd you find that?
So they didn't even know they were sitting with a celebrity.
They didn't know. They didn't know. Every once in a while they'll see because some of them follow me on Instagram,
Right.
so they'll see some of the things that I've done, and they're like, wait, this is you?" Or
Wow.
I'll bring some of my tribe in to speak to them. My good girlfriend April Walker,
Wow.
um, who does Walker wear. I've had her on campus a couple of times. So they get excited, about the idea of just meeting someone who is successful in the industry.
Right. And so, just to wrap things and you know, I just want to tell you, when I heard about what you were doing, it was so refreshing to hear. And I believe you did it during Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. And it was the most celebrated thing that everybody, that was anybody, black and white and different cultures, just came out to celebrate, showing the importance of representation. So on behalf of everyone that I know, we want to say thank you for doing this. And we want to know, how can we continue to follow you and support you and your agenda?
Well, first, I want to say to the Black fashion community and the fashion community on whole, thank you for the support. Putting together an exhibit like that was not an easy thing to do. Um, we've been trying to find a variety, my partner and I, Rochelle, we've been trying to find a multitude of ways of getting monies together to do the exhibit that I wanted to do, which was much larger in scope. It's actually taking what you see on the website and putting it into a visual exhibit. Um, and we keep coming really, really close, so I'm never willing to give up. I'm actually working on the book. I want to do a coffee table size book, Black Dress, because what I find is there have been exhibits about Black designers in the past, but once the exhibit closes, all the information goes with it. So I wanted something that people could put their hand on and go back and look and see where we've come from as far as design, who's in there currently. So this would be a volume issue type of book,
Mm,
that we would continue to keep going. The biggest problem with the book is half of the book is photographs, and
mm.
and getting the okay to use the photographs in the book is just such a huge ordeal.
Right. And
I
costly at that.
and very costly.
Right.
So,
Maybe we
you know,
should support you somehow so that we can figure out a wonderful way to help you guys raise money, because, the whole idea of this conversation is so that we can support you. And I really believe that you just gave us a wonderful project to help the next generation, as well as this project that you're putting together. So we would love to get more detail about that to help you find the funding and the support that you need, especially for the
absolutely.
next generation that's going to make the difference and shift everything the way you should be.
Yes, yes. Well, we've also been working with the African American Museum at the Smithsonian. Um, and unfortunately, due to the COVID
Right.
virus, I was supposed to moderate a conversation about Blacks in fashion in May, and of course that got canceled. So we're still looking to do it. We might have to do it virtually sometime early next year.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things in the works, but we have to get through this pandemic.
Yep, we will, and we will. So I'm like so honored to speak to you, and we want to continue to follow you. And we want to tell you thank you for all your contribution and your hard work. It is not unnoticed. I promise you that.
Thank you, Meredith. That's really appreciative.
Thank you. Guys, I can't thank you enough for continuing to follow us with this segment. The conversation will continue. There is going to be a full article on Dr. Adrienne Jones, and she is an amazing professor, and her Rolodex is phenomenal. So, for all of you guys that are looking for Black historians that know the fashion world, as she has stated in this brief conversation, please follow her on her social media that will be listed under her name during this conversation. So until the next time, please continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Ciao, Bella.